welcome back to the Xeophobic 73 channel, and this is PS5 games. Now, all Sony PlayStation 5 games release date, games confirmed, rumoured or leaked. The PS5 is on everyone's lips right now. We are likely to hear more information about the console in the new year. Ahead of the console's launching, we examine what games will be coming to the new machine. Now, Sony is working on the successor of the PS4, which isn't any surprise. Now, over the last year or so, we've heard a lot of rumours about the PlayStation 5 and what the launch may look like. For example, we've got a good idea of what the PlayStation release games might be, and we also have an idea of how Sony will approach PS5 backwards compatibility, even though there has been some hints about the PS5's graphics, and it looks like we have had some sneaky GT Sport 8K video showcased by Sony in Japan. But enough questions. What about the game that will come with the console? After all, every console's release is defined by its titles at launch. The launch lineup for the PS4 and Xbox One was famously pretty underwhelming, despite our affection for Guerilla Games' Killzone series. So can Sony afford to make that error twice in a row? Luckily, based on a variety of confirmed news, rumours and several leaks that we have seen so far, it looks like Sony actually has some pretty good projects in line for the PS5. So here's everything that we know so far. Anthem by EA and BioWare. EA takes on the shared world shooter that has been popularized by Destiny, is due out in the February of 2019. Similarly to Destiny, the launch will be cross-gen across the PS3 and PS4. We could also see early version of Anthem exist on the current gen before EA migrates the game to the PS5. Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red. Cyberpunk 2077 is the next RPG from acclaimed developer CD Projekt Red, which will take on a sci-fi setting in contrast with the studio's previous title, The Witcher, which was in part the fantasy genre. CD Projekt Red's, I can't even pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to bother. Pietrov Nubiscuit and Adam Chisinski spoke to Pareto Securities Gaming Seminar 2018 event as part of what they said may be a nod to the future of console gaming. Part of the presentation the duo offered was to explain the game to eager onlookers, detailed something important, but what would the build on current and next gen technology? This means we would see a cross-generational release of the game, seeing an initial launch on the PS4 and Xbox One, but then coming to whatever Microsoft and Sony do next. The downside does mean that means we're certainly not going to see the games launch soon. Anything cross-gen tends to come towards the end of the game's console life cycle, and the PS4 and Xbox One certainly has some time left in them yet. So you can see the seminar that is mentioned here now. Death Stranding by Sony and Kojima Productions. Metal Gear Solid developer and all-round game superstar Hideo Kojima next project is Death Stranding. The game will promise to be completely off-the-wall, bizarre experience from start to finish, and to be quite honest, we can't wait. Whilst the game was originally announced for the PS4, the development time and the game was still in fact goes without any release date means that we could only see Sony commit to the cross-platform release by the time that the PS5 is announced, and expect to hear a release date for this game soon. Ghost of Tsushima, which is by Sony and Sucker Punch. Ghost of Tsushima is a brand new IP from developer Sucker Punch, the studio best known for its work on the infamous series of games, as well as creating the Sly Cooper games for the PS2. The game will see you take on the role of a samurai, fighting in the Tsushima region of Japan against invading forces. A job listing the developer's site could shed light on what we could see from the Ghost of Tsushima ship. The listing over the site states that always looking for people who share and drive to make great games. We celebrate self-starters who care about the details. So if you've always wanted to work on a samurai game in Federal Japan, then check out the positions below. So the listings available for the environment artists, senior entertainment artist, facilities coordinator, senior HR office manager, gameplay programmer. The first and last of these titles supported. The game is quite early in development. Now, gameplay programming is key to the game from the very early stages, and speaking generally, environmental development is done in the early stages too. Now, cut a long story short, don't expect to see the game in 2018. It's likely that it could even release as late as 2020, in line with the supposed launch of the PlayStation 5. Now, God of War 2, Sony and Sony Santa Monica. Back in an interview, Chief Daily Star Online gaming reporter James Wright conducted an interview with the director Cory Barlog in E3 in 2017. It was clear that they had high hopes for just one game, the God of War reboot. For me, I'm just trying to get the game done, Barlog replied, and we asked about the future plans of the series, but I will say that when it came to close the story, I had chosen it because I already outlined and mapped out stories for multiple games. I have an arc in my head that goes well beyond the game and everything else doing in God of War, and for me it's very much building towards that. Like you see the second God of War game, and it ends with Kratos going up to Olympus. Everybody said that it would be the stupidest decision that they were likely to do. Nobody wants a cliffhanger ending. They hate them. But I was like, whatever, this is an awesome storytelling, and to do more and more people justice, this is just great. So with this game, I think people now know what's going to be here. It's going to be here for a while anyway. Me personally, I've got a couple of those in me anyway. So consider we saw the first game launch this year in 2018. We aren't going to see the new one for some time, likely at least until 2020, in line with along with the theoretical launch of the PS5. Now, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, which is done by Sony Guerilla Games. Sean Ryden, Sony's chairman of SIE Worldwide Studios, was particularly growing about Horizon and Guerilla Games during the interview with The Telegraph in 2017. Following the company's successful EA 2003 press conference, Lydon told The Telegraph, "It's another studio. I don't want them to tell them what we're going to do." The Guerrilla team had spent 10 or 12 years on the Killzone franchise, and Horizon Zero Dawn couldn't have been more difficult to do from Killzone. If we even tried, it could be more different either. So from what they had come up with, which obviously was open world, heavily nature-based kind of game, using all the different colors they'd ever used in Killzone, like blue, red, yellow, green. It was a big stretch goal, but they did it. The reaction from the game was fantastic. Guerrilla Games had another weird name, Honorchoi Hermann Volst, which is obviously German. Got a very keen mind towards what he wanted to take to Horizon and what the roadmap was. And the roadmap he expressed in multiple years. I think we've gone on to go into the Horizon business for a long time. It stands to reason that we will see the next game surface again on the PlayStation 5. Now, Elder Scrolls 6 by Bethesda. An official blurb for Elder Scrolls 6 notes. Currently in pre-production at Bethesda's game studios, the acclaimed developers of Skyrim and Fallout 4, the highly anticipated next chapter in the iconic Elder Scrolls series. At E3 2018, Todd Howard was quite forward with stating that the game is set to arrive on the next generation consoles, but more importantly is also included to arrive as a set of Bethesda have concluded work on Starfield. And Starfield is a game we've spent years on thinking about, working on something we feel uniquely positioned to pull off, and we're incredibly excited about that, said Howard. But in the building towards the game and after that, it's one of those things you just keep asking about. Now, again, same thing again, Starfield, Bethesda. An interview with The Telegraph in November had delved into why Bethesda announced Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 as next-gen titles. It was a couple of things, replies Bethesda's Pete Hines, Vice President of Bethesda Softworks. He said, why was now the right time to announce those ambitious games? Number one is where we honestly is a little tired of being asked about Elder Scrolls 6. And with Starfield trademark filing and dancing around in all of those, Elder Scrolls 6 could certainly dance around. We said, yes, we're going to do these two games first. So, but why we don't really catch on, and why we still had people asking what we're going to do with it, and partly because of Fallout 76 and the departure for them saying, well look, here we're going to try something very different than what we've ever done before. We want to make things very clear to folks that aren't all what Bethesda Games Studios are looking for right now. The next game we are making is Starfield. It's a new IP, it's a single player role-playing game that folks understand, and why we are going to make the Elder Scrolls 6. Now, they understand the context. This is something different, but we want to try it. You guys are consistently asking about multiplayer and playing with other folks, and we want to try that. But then we are going to go back to something that we all know and love, and we'll get around to Elder Scrolls 6. Just to paint a better picture of that, the roadmap, and what's next, and what's going to look like, even if it doesn't come back to the date, and when that game is going to come out, we will show it off to you. And a PS5 game is confirmed, it's practically certain. So, The Last of Us 2, Sony and Naughty Dog. While there's been no official word on what we can expect from The Last of Us 2 to release on the PlayStation 4, however, we do know that development on the game started back in 2014. A motion capture for the title that started in 2016, so there's a lot of pieces that are certainly coming together. Naughty Dog noted that the game was around 50 to 60% done in December of 2017, so whilst we are most likely to see the game launch in 2014, we could see another version of the game released on the PS5 too, the same as we did with the original game. Spider-Man 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Sony Insomniac Games. We pretty know at this stage we're going to get a sequel to Spider-Man. It was one of the best-selling games of the year. Sony aren't going to sleep on that. So while we're not even going to see it announced for quite some time, when it lands, it's pretty much guaranteed to be the next big gen title. Dragon Age, The Dreadwolf Rises, EA and BioWare. At the Games Awards 2018, BioWare announced that Dreadwolf Rises, the up-and-coming action RPG due to launch on the Xbox One, PS4 and PC, had no release date to speak of yet, but it's likely to arrive anytime soon. We say this, from all the signs that BioWare have seemed to suggest that Anthem is currently the studio's main project. As such, we are expecting a 2020 release at the very earliest. Destiny 3, Activision Bungie. The rumour from Destiny 3 is that stemmed from the popular Destiny leaker Anon the 9. While the information should be taken with a pinch of salt, there is enough precedent and information on the prolific leaker to make it believable. The leaker is a strong track record when it comes to Bungie's leaks, but plans can change. The sequel has not been officially announced by Bungie, but the Reddit user believes that the project is in development. The leaker revealed that just entered the development, which means we could, we wouldn't just hold our breath just yet. Anon the 9 suggests the game would follow the usual cycle, which means 3 years after the release of Destiny 2. Therefore, we wouldn't expect to see the launch of Destiny 3 until 2020. Call of Duty, Infinity Ward, Activision and Infinity Ward. Thanks to the way that the release schedule works for Call of Duty games, we can expect to see Infinity Ward's version of the game much later. Similarly to Call of Duty Ghosts, we can infer that because of the timing of the release, we could still get a title that is cross-gen release. So that's the whole lock, stock and barrel of that. There's quite a few releases coming to the PS5 now. Take some of them with a pinch of salt, but that's what I can see is could be in pre or post production as I very speak. Well, listen, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a bit of a long haul, that one, so look, if you stayed to the end of the video, fair play to you, and for your time, make sure you make it worth your while and mine by clicking the like, subscribe, and do share the video. It's a long one. It took me a little while, so please show your appreciation there. And also the notifications tab on the channel link to get complete updates of all the channel if you do subscribe. Okay, thanks very much for watching this large piece of PS5 news. You have been watching the Xeophobic 73 channel, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks very much now. Bye bye.